وهل أتاك حديث موسى إذ رأى نارا فقال لأهلهم كثوا إني آنست نارا لعلي آتيكم منها بقبس أو أجد على النار هدى.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وبعد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال بل ألقوا فإذا حبالهم وعصيهم يخيل إليه من سحرهم أنها تسعى فأوجس في نفسه خيفة موسى قلنا لا تخف إنك أنت الأعلى. صدق الله العظيم. I can imagine the anxiety in the listeners and the viewers, because we had concluded at the absolute crunch time where the entire Egypt in its numbers had converged and congregated in Makan and Suwa in a plain field. Yawm Zina, it was a day of festival. Yuhshar al-nasu duha, it was late morning, early noon. And Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam first cautioned them to say, back off, call it off. I'm a prophet, this is magic. Don't challenge me, don't be a rival to me. فَيُسْحِتَكُمْ بِعَذَابٍ وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنِ افْتَرَى. Lest Allah inflicts upon you a torment and destroys you. Their private meeting and their private discussion, they debated, discussed, argued, and finally they said, no, let's go ahead. Then they asked Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, Ya Musa, imma an tulqiya wa imma an nakuna awwala man alqa. And that was the point on which we had concluded in the previous segment, that, O Musa, are you going ahead or are we going ahead? And Musa alayhi salatu wassalam said, no, go ahead, take the lead, take the lead. And we also explained that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam telling them to go ahead was not advocating a crime or a sin or a vice, knowing very well that they were challenging a Nabi. Him telling them to go ahead is not suggestive of the fact that he endorsed or approved it, but rather they were doing what they were doing. All he said, go first. And in hindsight, as things unfold, that they had to do what they did for people to appreciate, the miraculous nature of the mu'jiza of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. So let's go straight to the point, and that is the 66th verse of Surah Taha out of the 135 verses of this chapter of the Quran. قَالَ بَلْ أَلْقُوا. He, Musa alayhi salam, said, Bal, instead, alqu, you drop your staffs. So they also came with staff. Musa alayhi salam had his staff, أَتَوَكَّوْ عَلَيْهَا وَأَهُشُّ بِهَا. They came with staffs and they came with ropes, as the Quran says. And they dropped it. And I just have a flash now of a verse of the 19 Jews. Remember, Pharaoh was there, and historical narration suggests that he was sitting there. Obviously, there was a private, exclusive VIP sitting for him and the royal men, etc. So these people are now, the nation is behind them. And فَأَلْقَوْا حِبَالَهُمْ وَعِصِيَّهُمْ وَقَالُوا بِعِزَّةِ فِرْعَوْنَ وَقَالُوا بِعِزَّةِ فِرْعَوْنَ إِنَّا لَنَحْنُ الْغَالِبُونَ. So as they cast and as they drop their robes and their staff, they say, in the name of the honor and the glory of Pharaoh. Obviously, that's going to inflate him. You know what? We swear in the name of Pharaoh, our king, our leader, our ruler, our, being whom we salute, revere, worship, etc. بِعِزَّةِ فِرْعَوْنَ, in the name of the honor and the glory of Pharaoh. إِنَّا لَنَحْنُ الْغَالِبُونَ. Surely, absolutely, we will dominate. We will dominate. فَإِذَا حِبَالُهُمْ. Now, إِذَا in Arabic in this context is what we refer to as إِذَا مُفَاجَأَةً, suddenly, unexpectedly, to your utter surprise. فَإِذَا حِبَالُهُمْ وَعِصِيُّهُمْ. Suddenly, Hibal is the plural of the word habl, and Isi is the plural of the word asa. Their ropes and their staffs. يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ. يُخَيَّلُ مُضَارِ مَجْهُول. It seemed, it appeared to be to Musa alayhi salam and to all those that were present, min sihrihim, because of the kind of magic that they did. It appeared to be annaha tas'a, that they were also slithering snakes moving across swiftly. Now, if we were to go with the view of the historians that the magicians were in numbers between 30,000 and beyond, can you imagine the amount of chaos and panic that these amount of supposed snakes created and the fear it instilled in people? So, historical narrations say anything from 30,000 onwards, each one of them having his own rope and his own staff. They dropped it, and the kind of magic that they did, the Quran said, was they cast a spell on the eyes of people. They cast a spell on the eyes of people. When we were kids, and probably every adult will know, you would take a wrapper of a sweet or a candy which had different colors, and then you'll kind of block your eye, and then you say, I can see you, and then you yellow in color, and you blue in color, and you red in color, and you pink in color. And obviously the individual or the object or the item remains the same, but you blur your view, or you create this delusion in relation to the wrapper that you put in. And that's just a simple basic analogy I'm giving. And so the object or the item appears to be in a different shade or color. So in the 9th juz, Allah says, Saharu a'yunan nasi, Saharu a'yunan nasi. They cast a spell on the vision of people. This is the verses of the Quran. وَاسْتَرْهَبُوهُمْ, and they struck terror in the hearts. وَجَاءُوا بِسِحْرٍ عَظِيمٍ, and they displayed great magic. So from a perspective of magic, these were really leaders in the field. The Quran says بِسِحْرٍ عَظِيمٍ. The Quran says بِسِحْرٍ عَظِيمٍ. Ad was strong and they were arrogant, and Allah acknowledged that they were strong. Allah said, "Lam yukhlaq mithluha fil bilad." The likes of such a strong nation were not created again. So Allah Himself says that they were strong and I created them strong. So Allah acknowledges that they had strength. However, Allah asks the question, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّ اللَّهَ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُمْ هُوَ أَشَدُّ مِنْهُمْ قُوَّةً. Have they forgotten that the being who gave them strength is stronger than them? Have they forgotten that Allah who gave them خَلَقَهُمْ هُوَ أَشَدُّ مِنْهُمْ قُوَّةً. He has much more strength. The strength of Allah, the might, the clout of Allah is beyond our comprehension. So in terms of magic, there's no two opinions. This was great magic. But وَلَا يُفْلِحُ السَّاحِرُ حَيْثُ أَتَى, in another verse of the Quran, that there is no ground, there's no clout, there's no credibility, and there's no stand-in to a magician when it's compared to a prophet. وَلَا يُفْلِحُ السَّاحِرُ حَيْثُ أَتَى. Wherever he comes, magic is short-lived. So, وَرَأَى النَّاسُ عَجَبًا. People were astonished, people were perplexed, people were blown away. حَيَّاتٌ تَسْعَى فِي الْمَيْدَانِ. There are these tens of thousands of snakes just moving rapidly and swiftly across the field. وَدُهِشَ النَّاسُ وَتَرَاجَعُوا إِلَى الْخَلْقِ. People were left in panic, in stress, and everyone started withdrawing, moving back, started retreating. The natural human instinct in panic, you scream, you yell, you shout, and you dash. That's the human nature. Hayat, 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 hayat. Allah forbid, if there's an intruder, you're going to hear every member of the house just saying thief, 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 robbery, robbery. Those are the words that are going to instinctively come out. Sahatin nisa wa bakatil atfal. Wow. Sahatin nisa. The women are crying, the babies are yelling, and the only slogan or the only sound that you are hearing is hayat, hayat. Be careful, be watchful, snakes, run, avoid, dash, take cover, protect yourself. وَرَأَى مُوسَى مَا رَأَى النَّاسُ وَتَعَجَّبْ. And Musa alayhi salam is standing and he's observing how people are becoming impressed. And he is a prophet, but he is a human as well. He is a prophet, but he is a human as well. وَخَطَرَ فِي قَلْبِ مُوسَى خَاطِرُ خَوْفٍ. To the extent of being a human and a bashar, a thought crosses his mind and heart. And what's the thought? That these people have displayed some type of magic, and they have supposedly converted their staffs into snakes, right? As the Quran said, yukhayyal. So it was not tabdeel, it was not a literal transformation. In the case of Sayyidina Musa, as we've explained, and we will expound again, that the literal staff is now transformed into a snake and into a serpent, etc. While in the case of these magicians, it's no more than an optical illusion. It's playing with your vision. It's playing with your vision. So خطر في قلب موسى خاطر خوف ولماذا لا يخاف موسى. There was a little just a feeling that there was that a bit of nervousness, that 1 second of butterfly, that feeling of okay, so what? As the Quran says, and that's the next verse here, فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً مُوسَى. That's the 67th verse of Surah Taha. So Musa alayhi salam sensed a bit of fear in his heart. So أوجس يوجس إيجاس, in Lughatul Quran it's mentioned that it is a feeling which you conceal, or it also has the meaning of a sawtul khafi, a slight faint voice from within you, a voice of concern, like what's going to happen. In the thinking of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, I'm going to drop my staff, and my staff is also going to become a snake, and this is what these people have done similar. So how is this going to play? How is this going to play out? But of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help is with Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wassalam. So people are blown away. People are blown away. You know, generally, if you have a lineup of speakers or you have a lineup of readers, then you always reserve the best for the last, or the last, because as the kind of build-up goes in the qiraat, or the build-up goes in the speakers, each person comes and creates an impression, mesmerizes his audience, conveys a message, and he takes them to a particular notch and a pitch. Now the one that comes up, he needs to up his act above that. He needs to up his act. Okay, that was amazing, that was profound, that was brilliant, that was mesmerizing, that was riveting. Now let's see the person that comes thereafter. His recitation or his articulate nature, whatever it is one above. So the audience here have already been blown away. They've been blown away in the sense, the numbers, the conversion, the optical illusion, the snakes. And this is, it was a time where magic was rife, right? As the verse coming in the verses ahead, وَمَا أَكْرَهْتَنَا عَلَيْهِ مِنَ السِّحْرِ, that you had compelled and put duress over us in the field of magic. So some historians say that Pharaoh had made the learning of magic to be a mandatory art and a skill, and a science amongst the Egyptians at that time, which they kind of deduced from the word akrahtana, which literally loosely translates as you compelled us on magic. You compelled us on magic. وَهَذَا يَوْمُ الرِّهَانِ وَعِنْدَ الْإِمْتِحَانِ يُكْرَمُ الرَّجُلُ أَوْ يُهَانِ. And here is the absolute crunch time. People are like in absolute awe, and the whole nation is, wow, we did it, we there, we made it, we've broken through. Look at how well our magicians, they've done us proud, the nation stands behind them. وَإِذَا غَلَبَ السَّحَرَةُ لَا قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ ذَلِكَ. I love these choice of words of the author. وَإِذَا غُلِبَ مُوسَى لَا سَمَحَ اللَّهُ بِذَلِكَ فَمَاذَا يَكُونَ الْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Allah forbid, if the magicians were to win, then what? Allah forbid, may it not happen so. These are the choice of words. May it not happen so. If Musa alayhi salam is dominated today, then what? فَمَاذَا يَكُونَ الْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. No, never. وَلَيْسَ غَلَبُ مُوسَى غَلَبَ رَجُلٍ بَلْ هُوَ غَلَبُ دِينٍ أَمَامَ مَلِكٍ. And if Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wassalam is victorious, it's not the victory of Musa, or if he's overpowered, it's not the defeat of Musa alayhi salam. Remember, the victory of Musa is the victory of deen and haqq and truth. And if Allah forbid, which we know is not the case, but just in the context of the sequence of this narrative as captured by the author, if he's overpowered, then it is not the defeat of an individual, but for them it's going to be like, listen, you and your brother and your faith and your creed has no credibility or merit or standing. بل هو غلب حق أمام باطل لا قدر الله ذلك لا سمح الله بذلك ولكن الله شجعه وقال. But of course, Allah gave absolute strength and courage to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. And Allah said to him, and that is the 68th verse. This is the 68th verse of Surah Taha. قُلْنَا لَا تَخَفْ إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. My word, Allahu Akbar. You have often a child is going on stage, he gets nervous. A person is going into a ring, or he's going onto the field, or he's going onto stage, or he's going into, the theater, or he's going into whatever the occasion is. He has to go and present his speech or whatever, and the numbers kind of intimidate him, or the fact that his opponent or the one that preceded him had a more profound impression, which creates a greater challenge in him, leaves him uneasy. And then he has a dad coming in and whispering in his ears, my boy, you good. My boy, you'll do me proud. Or the teacher comes and says, don't worry, we're behind you. We back you, we support you. So you have a child, a teenager, an adult, whoever, whatever. You have the motivation of a dad or a teacher or a tutor or a mentor. Here you have Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam standing, and who is who is conveying a message to him? Who is saying to him? It is Allah Himself. It is Allah Himself saying to Sayyidina Musa, قُلْنَا, we said, لَا تَخَافْ, لَا تَخَافْ. Oh Musa, don't fear, don't panic, don't worry. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. You will remain the dominant. You will remain high. You will remain victorious. Right? I'm reminded of that verse in the Quran, in the 4th juz, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that أَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. That you will remain dominant and victorious provided you are true believers. And the Urdu poet Ghalib said, وَعْدَ غَلْبَ ہے مؤمن کے لیے قرآن میں پھر جو تو غالب نہیں کچھ ہے کسر ایمان میں. That the decree of dominance and victory has been declared in the Quran for the believer. If on the other hand, you don't experience that dominance and that prominence, then it is as a result of the deficient nature of your faith, and not because of any inconsistency in the declaration of Allah. So the promise of Allah stands. وَلَن تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا وَلَن تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَحْوِيلًا لَا يُخْلِفُ اللَّهُ الْمِيعَادِ. Allah doesn't go against His words. Allah doesn't go against His promise. And whatever is the practice of Allah will remain. You have defaulted, O Muslim. So قُلْنَا, we said, لَا تَخَافْ. Do not fear, O Musa, do not fear. But just picture this tens of thousands of people, you standing there. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. You will remain the most high. You will remain the most high. So what does Allah say to Musa alayhi salam? And that takes us into the next verse. So the entire audience is blown away, mesmerized. Can just imagine Pharaoh's ego, how inflated it was. Can you imagine how proud, arrogant, obsessed he must have felt at that time. Well, here it is. Let's see what they're going to do. And here we all have the support. وَأَلْقِ مَا فِي يَمِينِكَ تَلْقَفْ مَا صَنَعُوا وَأَلْقِ مَا فِي يَمِينِكَ تَلْقَفْ مَا صَنَعُوا إِنَّمَا صَنَعُوا كَيْدُ سَاحِرٍ وَلَا يُفْلِحُ السَّاحِرُ حَيْثُ أَتَى. And that is precisely the 69th verse of Surah Taha. Let me give you a verbatim translation. Wa and alqi, drop, ma, that, fi, in, yaminik, your right hand. So we told Musa alayhi salam, our plan stands the same, no change of plan. Allah knows exactly. Sayyidina Musa is seeing this. For a moment he has a bit of a sense of uneasiness in his heart, which is natural, which is human, because for the moment their staff appears to be snakes. My staff is going to be a snake. So how am I going to overpower them? We said, nothing to panic, O Musa, nothing to panic. Innaka antal a'la, innaka antal a'la. When Allah wants something to happen, then it just happens. And when Allah doesn't want it to happen, nobody can make it happen. Simple as that. Simple as that. Can you imagine the enemy comes to the mouth of the cave and then they withdraw and they right there, and Sayyidina Abu Bakr can see the footsteps and the footprints and see the people coming up, and then they withdraw right to the mouth of the cave to show them that they're not in control. Allah is in control. ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار إذ يقول لصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا So wa and alqi, drop ma, that fi in yaminik, your right hand. Just drop it. Just drop it, oh Musa, just drop it. So Musa alayhi salam casually, gently, very calmly, in a very composed way, as instructed by Allah, he just dropped it. It was barely the dropping of the staff from the hand of Musa alayhi salam. He just dropped it down, as the Quran said, Talqaf ma sana'u. It will swallow whatever they have invented and whatever they have faked up. Whatever their fabrications and inventions and their fake magic is, whatever they have made, talqaf, it will just swallow it, it will devour it, it will consume it. So remember, it was sticks which remain staff but perceived. And that's what we're saying, that there are different types of magic, and one type of magic is to play with the eyes and the vision of people. So it appears to be, but it remains, and the verses of the Quran are clear. Saharu a'yun an-nas and yukhayyalu ilayhi. Yukhayyalu, it appeared, optical illusion. So talqaf, it will swallow and devour whatever they have faked up. Innama sana'u kaydu sahir. They have merely faked the plot of a magician, and a magician will never succeed. That's it. Musa alayhi salatu wassalam dropped, and lo and behold, as soon as Musa alayhi salam dropped, talqafu ma ya'fikun. فَوَقَعَ الْحَقُّ وَبَطَلَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. فَوَقَعَ الْحَقُّ. The truth now became apparent. وَبَطَلَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. And whatever they were inventing, fabricating and faking just disappeared. Because when truth comes, then falsehood just disappears. بَلْ نَقْضِفُ بِالْحَقِّ عَلَى الْبَاطِلِ فَيَدْمَغُهُ فَإِذَا هُوَ زَاهِقٌ. وَدَهِشَ السَّحَرَةُ وَبُهِتُوا. The people that were struck the most were the magicians. Reason being, they were masters of the field. For the onlookers, they like just confused and perplexed. Okay, that was snake. Wow, this was something else, man. So whatever tens of thousands of snakes we seen slithering around, the staff of Musa alayhi salam came. It was so huge, was so amazing, was so profound that it just started swallowing everything. So it swallowed basically that staffs that they had left behind, which was appearing to the onlookers as snakes. But to the magicians, they were like, now, wait, now what is this? What is this here? We've never seen this here. أَيُّ شَيْءٍ هَذَا. What is this? إِنَّا نَعْرِفُ السِّحْرَ وَأَصْلَهُ. We understand magic and its origin. وَإِنَّا نَعْرِفُ السِّحْرَ وَأَنْوَاعَهُ. We are masters of magic and its various types. وَنَحْنُ أَسَاتِذَةُ الْفَنِّ وَأَئِمَّةُ الْفَنِّ. We are the dean in the field of witchcraft. We are the heads. We lead this. We teach this. We know this. We know it in and out. You know, close eyes, we understand the ins and outs of this. لو كان من السحر لضربنا السحر بالسحر وقرعنا الفن بالفن. If this was any form of magic, we would have challenged him, we would have opposed him, and we would have defeated him. But the truth be told, ذاب فننا أمامه كما يذوب الندى أمام الشمس. I love these words of the author, rahimahullah. Our skill and our magic has disappeared before the presence of the miracle of Musa, like how the dew melts on the grass when the sun rises. Wow, like just disappears, gone, out. There's no trace of it. As the sun rises, it just melts away. We were just swallowed in. We were just consumed. We were just overpowered. This man came in with a sweeping victory, a sweeping victory. فَمِنْ أَيْنَ هَذَا مِنَ اللَّهِ. This is not the human. This is not the average. This is not the regular. This is something else. اقتنع السحرة بأن موسى نبي وأن الله قد منحه معجزة فصرخوا وهتفوا. The first people who realized, were convinced that this was divine, this was a man of the Almighty, were the magicians themselves. And they did not delay in pronouncing their iman. They screamed out, Amanna bi Rabbil Alameen. Amanna. So there's few verses we need to understand into context here. Amanna bi Rabbil Alameen. We bring iman on the Lord of all the worlds. On iman on the Lord of all the worlds. So according to one narration that is mentioned in Madarik al-Tanzil, Allama Nasafi says that when they said Amanna bi Rabbil Alameen, we bring Iman on the Lord of all the worlds, then Pharaoh said, Iyaya anaytum, you mean me, right? You professing your faith in me. You said you brought Iman on the Lord of all the worlds, so you reaffirming your faith in me. So they said, no, bi Rabbi Haruna wa Musa, not you. We brought Iman on the Lord of Moses and Harun. Can you imagine what a blow that was to someone? Can you imagine what a blow? Like, you're talking about me? No, not you at all. We brought Iman on the Lord of Musa and Harun alayhima min Allahi as-salatu wa taslim. And if you really look at the verse here in the 16 juz, which is part of our discussion here, and that is the 70th verse of Surah Taha, the expression adopted by the Quran is so unique, right? So here they are. They observed what happened. They've realized this is compelling. This is clear cut. The Quran says, "Ulqiya as-saharatu sajidin." My word. So Allah didn't say they fell in prostration or they dropped into prostration. Allah said they were cast into prostration, which in Tanweerul Adhan it's mentioned, كأنهم يعني ألقاهم ملق, as though someone came from the rear and dropped them, as though someone, ulqiya is majhul, they were dropped, they were cast, meaning that the miracle was so clear, so loud, so compelling that they had no choice but to fall into prostration. Sometimes you're in a masjid and a person is reciting a verse of the Quran, and he recites it in a very melodious and beautiful recitation. And when he concludes the verse, then everybody just screams out takbir in a synchronized voice, and the entire masjid reverberates with takbir, as though people were told that when he concludes his verse, say Allahu Akbar or Subhanallah. But it's not that they were told, they were motivated instinctively, almost like they were compelled. So, ulqiya as-saharatu, the magician were cast into prostration. When they were cast into prostration, I cannot possibly imagine what that sajda was, how profound that sajda was. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, and I read this in his tafsir myself, he said, رَأَوْ مَنَازِلَهُمْ فِي الْجَنَّةِ. They seen their abodes in Jannah. And yet in Tanweerul Adhan, I came across this so amazing description that the author writes, first they dropped their staffs and their ropes لِلْكُفْرِ وَالْجُحُودِ, in arrogance and in disbelief. So as an opponent to the Prophet, أَلْقَوْ حِبَالَهُمْ وَعِصِيَّهُمْ لِلْكُفْرِ وَالْجُحُودِ. In disbelief and kufr, they dropped their ropes and they dropped their staffs. And soon thereafter, they dropped their heads in belief and in gratitude. فَمَا أَعْظَمُ الْفَرْقِ بَيْنَ الْإِلْقَائَيْنِ. What a difference between the two drop-ins. So first you cast in and drop in your rope to oppose the Prophet, and soon thereafter you drop in your head in submission. And like Ibn Kathir has also mentioned, and this is a tale of great hope, he said in the morning they were disbelievers, they were magicians, and they were adversaries to the Prophet. And on the evening of that very same morning, they were believers. They were Sahaba. They brought Iman on the Nabi of the time, Musa alayhi salam, and they were martyrs. And I leave you with this profound reflection in Bayanul Quran under this ayah in Masailus Suluk. It is written that فيه إيقاظ السامع على ألطاف الله تعالى في نقل من شاء من عباده من غاية الكفر والجحود إلى نهاية الإيمان والسداد. The ayah gives a strong warning and alert that Allah has the absolute authority and sovereignty to turn the fate of any person from the pit of destruction to the height of virtue. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us that level of nobility and virtue. But here you have it, let's wait and see. They've brought Iman. The entire landscape, excitement has now gone into a mood of somber uncertainty and confusion. You can imagine the frustration, anger and rage of Pharaoh. Wait and see what follows and how Pharaoh reacts to this in the next episode. May Allah bless us with the beauty of Quran. Wa sallillahumma wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.